Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. Creed 2 was directed by Stephen Cable Jr., and this time around, Adonis Creed, once again played by Michael B. Jordan, is going up against Victor Drago, the son of Ivan Drago, played by Dolph Lundgren, who was the villain in Rocky IV that ultimately killed Apollo Creed in the ring. So it's a next-generation Creed versus Drago. You know, Adonis wants to avenge his father's death. Rocky's not on board with it from the very beginning, but then he soon realizes that Adonis needs Rocky, and Rocky really needs him, and yeah. I'm a huge fan of the Rocky franchise, and I absolutely love the first Creed movie. If you want to hear my thoughts on the first Creed, then my friend Noah and I talked about it for 23 minutes over some pizza, so if you want to check out that video, you can do that. But chances are you're actually here for my review of Creed 2, not Creed 1, so let's move forward. So yeah, I would totally say that Creed 2 is a worthy sequel to the first one. I really like how we got to revisit Ivan Drago several decades later after Rocky IV. You know, he's had his whole life basically stripped away after losing to Rocky. You know, his wife left him and he's been raising his son with hate and aggression, trying to make him become another championship boxer to regain their honor. He's mostly out for himself, but he does want his son to succeed. He shows his love in a very aggressive, not my fucking tempo kind of way, but still, it was kind of interesting to see Ivan Drago be more humanized and not just this steroid-heavy Russian boxer guy. This movie's a little bit slower than the first one, which I really did not mind because the best Rocky movies are these slower-paced ones. I do feel like this one does drag a little bit in certain areas, so it's gonna bother some people more than it did myself. But I do feel like the first movie was a lot better paced than this one. But the fights are as exciting as ever, especially during the final fight between Adonis and Victor. I was on the edge of my seat and reacting like it was a real-life boxing match. The fights are very well shot and well executed in this movie, and I feel like a couple of them, aesthetically, they feel more similar to earlier Rocky movies, which I thought was kind of cool. Story-wise, however, this movie is kind of a combination of Rocky 2, 3, and 4, so it's gonna feel very familiar if you've seen all the Rocky movies like I have. But I think what they did is like what they did with the first Creed movie, taking these familiar elements from other movies and modernizing them and giving them a fresh coat of paint, so I feel like they definitely did that here. I do think Creed 1 definitely kind of made over those certain plot points a little better than this movie, but it was still a solid movie. It was a great sequel. Is it as good as the first movie? I don't know, and I really don't like to use that term either, because in my eyes, a movie does not have to be the same level of good as the previous movie or the one after it. I would say that it is a worthy sequel. It's a sequel that I'm gonna want to watch immediately after I rewatch the first Creed again. So I think that's the best kind of sequel, is the one that you're just gonna want to immediately watch after you watch the previous one. So I would say Creed 2 falls under that category. It's very well acted, it's well directed, it's well shot, the training montages are strong, the fights are great, and Creed 2 was just really good. I really don't know what more they could do with this series though, because the first one was about Adonis rising up in the boxing world, and this one was more about him kind of avenging his father's death, so to speak. So I'm not really sure what they could do with a Creed 3 or anything beyond that. But honestly, if they just leave us with Creed 2, I'm totally okay with that. So all in all, Creed 2 is another great installment in the Rocky franchise, and I feel like I've kind of said everything at this point. I don't want to repeat myself too much, so yeah, it was great. The end. So, those are my thoughts on Creed 2. If you guys have seen the movie, or if you're gonna avenge your father's death, even if he's not dead yet, let me know down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.